Hello and welcome to the ABCs of Discipline. I'm Karen Tracy. This video on discipline was prepared by Sister Kathleen Glavich, a veteran classroom teacher who has been writing religious education material for more than 20 years. Sowing the message of salvation in the minds and hearts of children is especially challenging these days and frequently frustrating because of discipline problems. Just listen to these remarks from actual catechists. My fourth grade students are unmanageable. I spend so much time trying to get the class to stay in their seats that I'm never able to complete my lesson. My seventh graders think everything is a joke. When I enter the classroom, there are obscenities written on the chalkboard, the erasers are nowhere to be found, and half the students seem to have forgotten their homework. Discipline in religion class? That's easy. All you need is a whip and a chair. No wonder there's a high dropout rate among religion teachers. As we have just heard, children do not come programmed to listen, follow directions, cooperate, or communicate. Healthy classroom discipline is a comfortable order that frees children to learn efficiently. Fortunately, disciplining is a skill that can be learned and improved with practice. Instead of raising our voices to carry over the commotion when the class is restless and talking, we can stop and deal with the problem. When students act out inappropriately, we can use creative ways to divert their attention and bring about more productive behavior. When a student disrupts the class for the 100th time, we correct him or her for the 100th time. We struggle to do what is best for the children, and this is not always to their liking. It may not make us popular, but we're not there to be popular. Catechists, like children, have to sometimes practice tough love. This is painful. Despite personal suffering, we have to stick to our principles and teach with a tender tenacity. Our task is to use discipline as a tool to form disciples. The words discipline and disciple have the same Latin root, a word that means to learn. Disciples are those who learn from Christ. Someday your students may echo the words of actress Julie Andrews. Some people regard discipline as a chore. For me, it's a kind of order that sets me free to fly. Using the 10 letters in the word discipline as our guide, let's now look at 10 ways to promote good discipline. Remember the story of the little engine that could? The little engine conquers a large hill by repeating, "I think I can, I think I can." Your outlook greatly determines your success or failure to conquer your hill. Positive attitudes toward yourself and your students yield positive effects. Visualize yourself as a vital and successful teacher, and chances are that is exactly what you will be. Realize that you are a good person to teach religion. Look at the sacrifices it entails. You deserve gratitude and respect. Do you know how important you are? The church and the parents of your students depend on you to impart the faith to the children, a faith that gives meaning and joy to their lives. It might help to write reminders on your lesson plan or to post a copy on your bathroom mirror or refrigerator at home, such as, "I am the teacher, they are the students. I am in the strategic position to guide the direction of the class. God is with me in this ministry to guide me and enlighten my path. I am loved by God and deserve respect. I am a professional." Your whole being should declare your good self-concept, your posture, walk, voice, and gestures. Catechists who convey timidity and insecurity invite children to take advantage of them. Even when you do not feel enthusiastic, joyful, or calm, rely on the act as if principle. Acting as if we feel a certain way helps bring about the feeling. Try it. Also, have a positive attitude toward your children. Do you let stories of their previous teacher taint your opinion of them? Do you compare your class to classes you had in the past? Don't. Expect the best. Children tend to live up to a teacher's expectations. Show that you have confidence in them and that you care about them. Get to know them as individuals. Learn their names quickly. Don't give up on them. As for those problem children you wish would disappear, reach out to them. And now let's go on to our second topic, identifying potential problems. Just as a director oversees each detail to ensure a smooth program before a performance, so does a catechist need to spot problems. First of all, if the size of your class or the time schedule works against good discipline, try to change it. Also, analyze your teaching space. Children learn best in a clean, quiet, organized room that has good lighting and sufficient ventilation. Make the room attractive. Set up a prayer station with a scented candle, Bible, flowers, and a pretty cloth. Make and display inspiring posters. Equipment and supplies should be clean, in working order, and set to go. Learn your own weaknesses, such as a monotonous voice or a mannerism that annoys the class. Remedy them. Remove temptations, such as playthings. Gently take them away and return them to the student when class is over. Move near children who might misbehave. You know that some children are like dynamite and fire together. Seat them as far apart as possible. Be sensitive to students' home situations, moods, health, and needs. When children are restless or bored, change an activity. Your vigilance can avert tragedies, and starting off right can also nip potential problems in the bud. You never get a second chance to make a good first impression. Good discipline begins with day one. Appear organized and caring, efficient and relaxed, knowledgeable and open to the students' ideas. Be friendly, but not over-friendly. If the students try to test you, deal with the incident quickly and firmly. State your content goals for the year and your hopes and expectations for the children. Keep your standards high. Spell out your classroom rules, the reason for them, and the consequences of not following them. The rules should be few, brief, and stated positively. The children might help formulate these rules and sign a contract accepting their responsibility for following them. Later, post the rules where all will be reminded of them throughout the year. To learn names more quickly, begin with a seating plan in alphabetical order by first name or surname. Later, as you become aware of the children's needs, change the plan. Think about how you will begin your class. With a prayer? How will you take attendance? How will you distribute and collect papers and supplies? When may the children sharpen their pencils or use the restroom? How will you get their attention? By clapping your hands, ringing a bell, playing a chord on the piano or guitar, or flicking the lights off and on. Insist that the children raise their hands to answer questions. This now brings us to our next topic, creating your own discipline techniques. In creating your own techniques, begin with the gentlest form, and if that fails, resort to stronger methods. Here are some strategies you might adopt. Use nonverbal signals. For instance, facial expressions. Practice these looks before a mirror. Stern, questioning, warning, disapproving, dismayed, and shocked. You can quell misbehavior by a raised eyebrow, a hard stare, a certain smile, a waving finger, or a shake of the head. Use gestures. Glance at an offender and point to the chart of rules. Point to your mouth in the wastebasket to mean throw out the gum. Point to the paper on the floor to have it picked up. Here are other gestures. Writing a misbehaving child's name or initials on the board will usually stop the disruptive behavior and remind you to speak to the child later. Or you might merely change your voice as you are teaching by slowing down, increasing the volume, whispering, lowering the tone, speaking deliberately, or pausing. Or when a student is not working, go to him or her and touch the book or worksheet or his or her shoulder or arm in a non-threatening way. You might also whisper, "What should you be doing?" Or, "Can you do it?" You might divert a misbehaving child. For instance, If Andy is poking the girl in front of him, ask, Andy, what part of the homework did you find hardest? Or, Andy, would you please erase the board? Invite misbehaving children to go apart from the group to a special table, chair, or rug to think things through. If necessary, change a child's seat during a lesson. You might have misbehaving children write reports about what happened, including the pros and cons of their actions. State warnings and reprimands positively. For example, instead of saying, you're too noisy, quiet down, say, this activity needs concentration. Let's not talk while we're working on it. Use a cooperative approach. We'll need to do this. Ask, don't order the children to do something. In disciplining, use humor whenever possible. When one teacher's class doesn't listen, she says, pardon me, I didn't know I was speaking Swahili. To hurry students on the way to church, another teacher says, my grandmother walks faster than you. Humor can help keep your dignity and diffuse dangerous situations. The most effective way to deal with misbehaving children is to talk with them privately. During the talk, look into the child's eyes and smile once in a while to signal care and acceptance. Ask questions and really listen to the child. Make supportive statements like, I don't want the class to think badly of you. Here are 5 steps for a private talk. Do not start with an accusation. Rather, disarm the child by saying, I'm concerned that something is bothering you, or this isn't like you. What's wrong? Be sure the child is aware of the problem and make it clear that you will not allow certain behavior because it disrupts the whole class. Let the offender reflect on how his or her behavior affects others, hurts himself or herself, and how to make up for it. Get the child to accept responsibility for his or her behavior and cooperatively determine how to eliminate the undesirable behavior, spelling out actions and consequences. Motivate the child to change by asking, do we have to make a big deal out of this, or can we handle it ourselves? And before the next class, remind the child of the plan. A strategy which may be least expected but a very important one is prayer. Although this may not have occurred to you as a discipline technique, it is. Pray with your children. This helps create Christian community, and the children will take more ownership of the class. A teacher needs to be able to instill mutual respect. He or she needs to be someone children can look up to and imitate, someone who is like Christ. When you fail to act with respect, you lose the students' respect. Even worse, they will mirror your behavior. Here are some disrespectful behaviors for teachers to avoid. Avoid verbal abuse. Avoid yelling. Avoid confrontation and disputes. Don't grab an object from a misbehaving child. Don't dare children. Don't punish the whole class for the infraction of one child or a few. Avoid forced confessions. Don't use empty threats. Don't overreact to minor infractions. Don't interrupt a child. Never belittle a child's answer. Don't take out personal problems on the children. Do not speak about the faults of students or of their families. Here are some behaviors that show respect. Always be polite. Be consistent. Make disciplinary actions constructive. Focus on solutions. Discuss the action, not the personality. Give opportunities to save face. Use I statements rather than you statements in confronting students. End serious misbehavior promptly. Stop individuals from jeopardizing others from learning. Convey affection for the children even when reprimanding them. Let bygones be bygones. Remember, your goal is not to punish children, but to facilitate discipline. You can begin to create positive, basic attitudes in your students by your own example, and that will automatically encourage positive behavior from your students. Imagine a football team going out onto the field without a strategy. Lesson preparation is essential. A well-planned lesson holds the children's attention and gives them neither the time nor the desire for disruptive behavior. Here are some letters from children who wrote about their teachers and classroom experiences. This one's from 8-year-old Bobby. Mrs. James keeps us working. Even after the lesson is finished, we play a review game or work on a project. Here's one from 5th grader Dylan. I love Mr. Price's class. We never know what to expect when we walk in the door. We do so many different things. Last year, all we did was read the book. It was boring. Mr. Price has us read sometimes too, but even then, he has us read in different ways. And from 12-year-old Kathy. I didn't think I'd like studying the Old Testament, but Miss Macy gives personal examples and stories to connect the Bible stories to our own lives. She refers to current news items, songs, and things we're interested in. Sounds like these teachers have their students' attention. Here are some tips to help you plan some smooth and lively lessons. Use the ideas in your manual. Begin with something that will intrigue the children. Insert surprises into your plan. Outline your plan on a card. Rehearse your lessons. It's important to realize that you are not alone in the lesson planning or disciplining of your students. Even Jesus had to rely on his disciples after he was gone. Your DRE, religion coordinator, principal, and co-teachers are all there for you to give you support. In the next segment, we will look at ways others can support you.
My role as a DRE is to support my catechists. When a teacher comes to me with a discipline problem, I see it as a sign that he or she wants to improve. To help a teacher, I might visit or even teach a class. I might audio tape or videotape it and review it with the teacher, offering suggestions. The source of the teacher's problem could be a minor thing that is easily remedied. I encourage the teachers to read professional materials that offer help with discipline. I recommend that teachers consult with one another and visit each other's classes. I tell my teachers to send children to me not for punishment, but to help solve a problem. A child should be sent to me only after the teacher has tried private talks with the student and has contacted the parents. Parents know their children better than we do. One phone call home might make the difference. Otherwise, a conference might be held in which the teacher, child, and parents face the situation constructively. Sometimes in a particular situation, a priest, a counselor, or even other students can help. The best advice I give teachers is to pray to the Holy Spirit. As one wise catechist said, spend more time talking to God about your students than talking to your students about God.
Children are less likely to cause trouble if they have a sense of belonging and if they are kept busy. Involve the children by inviting them to set standards for the class. When assigning work, offer a choice of activities and a choice in minor matters. For example, ask, do you prefer to work alone or in groups, or on colored paper or white? Plan activities that let the children talk and that keep them moving. Invite questions and comments. Never tell children anything they can tell you. Let them review a lesson or summarize a paragraph. Likewise, never do anything that children can do for themselves. Let them write on the board, read from the Bible, or operate the equipment. You might try cooperative learning. That is, let partners or groups of children be responsible for teaching something to the class. When children fight, use conflict resolution methods that call for both parties to discuss the matter by each taking turns to tell their side of the story and offer solutions. Then all work together to propose solutions and agree on a resolution. When you were in school, do you remember that teacher who noticed everything? Everyone thought she must have had eyes behind her head. Well, if you prepare your lesson well, you too will be freed to notice things, like Larry setting fire to Jim's pants with a lighter, or Jessica cutting Mary's hair. Here are some tips on how to be more observant. Stand while teaching and periodically scan the class. When the students do group or quiet work, circulate among them. When writing on the chalkboard, position yourself at an angle so you can keep an eye on the class, or use an overhead projector so you are always facing the class. Right after each class, it's a good practice to make your notes about your students' behaviors and to evaluate your lesson. You may find there's a pattern of negative behavior evolving that you can nip in the bud. And if positive, you can repeat and nurture. Write down what worked in your lesson, what didn't, and why. Praise indicates success and motivates children to keep trying. Emphasize what's good about your students, about your lesson. Praise the whole class or make a comment like, "Look how hard the boys and girls in the third row are working," and watch how all the other children immediately settle down. This is using peer pressure in a positive way. Give attention to those who are doing the right thing and ignore those who are not. Unrewarded behaviors eventually become extinct. You might design a badge with the initials RS for Real Student. At the end of class, give the badge to a student to take home for the week. Specify what the student did to deserve the badge. Try these ways to offer praise if you haven't already. Write positive comments on children's work. Write a note on special paper or a card. Phone the children at home or call their parents about something positive the children have done. Display the children's work. Ask to keep some papers or artwork. Don't forget to reward yourself for accomplishments. You might make a booster box. In it, save tokens of your successes like thank you notes from the students. Then in hard times, go through the box and recall that you are good and do a fine job. Do you have a seemingly impossible class? Don't take it personally. Focus on the children who are receptive. You might make a sign for yourself that says, "This too shall pass." If you dread going to your classes, find out why. It may be you are doing too much, or you would be better with a different grade level or different content. St. Paul's words to Timothy can be adapted for those who teach. I implore you to continue to proclaim God's word. Be persistent in your teaching, whether it is convenient or inconvenient. Do everything you can to convince, reprimand, and encourage children to hear the truth. Above all, be very patient. You have a difficult and demanding task, but one that is also important and rewarding. You are only called to do your best and leave the rest up to God. The following Beatitudes for religion teachers recap some of the main concepts in this video. Happy are the organized and prepared, for their lessons will run smoothly, leaving no time for the children to get into mischief or even to think about it. Happy are the creative, careful lesson planners, for they will hold their children's attention and classes will not be boring. Happy are the observing and alert, for they will be aware of their class's moods and activities and prevent problems. Happy are the loving, caring teachers, for their students will try not to disappoint them. Happy are the firm and fair, for they will listen and be listened to. Happy are those who discipline with respect, for respect will be given them. Happy are those who teach with enthusiasm, for their children will catch their spirit and grow in faith. Happy are teachers who continue to learn, for so will their students, with peace, joy, and satisfaction. Thank you for joining me today for these ABCs of discipline. For reinforcement of the discipline techniques presented here, and for more helpful suggestions, I recommend Sister Kathleen Glavich's book, Discipline Made Easy. May your work as a teacher be fulfilled in these words of St. Paul in his letter to the Philippians. You will shine in the world like bright stars because you are offering it the word of life.